Good morning and welcome to math class. As we start our online learning, this is lesson one, solving simple equations. And I'm going to go through this nice and slow, and hopefully this works for you. You can find this note in your content page, so you can, if you have the ability to print it off, you can. If not, you can just follow along on the video, maybe even handwrite some notes on a separate piece of paper if that works for you. All right, so first of all, one of the things you should note is recognize that a question is an equation simply by the fact that it has something. What do all equations have? They have equal signs. Okay, so as soon as you have an equal sign, such as here, this is the question, this is our first example right here, has an equal sign. Okay, and when we're solving equations, there are some simple rules for solving equations. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do the same thing, exact same thing to the other side of the equation. It's like a teeter-totter. If I'm going to remove some weight from one side of the teeter-totter, I better remove it from the other side, otherwise it's going to be unbalanced. Conversely, if I was to add weight, add a kid to one side of a teeter-totter, I'd have to add a child to the other side as well, and they'd have to be the exact same weight to keep that teeter-totter balanced. Okay. When we're doing this, we have some basic guidelines that go like this, and I know sometimes the kids question it, but numbers, we want to move numbers or we want to remove numbers from the left side and only have them on the right side. So this is the right side of the equation. So this 8 is okay, but this 3 is on the left side, and we don't like that. In math, we tend to want to only have our letters over onto the left side here, and so this is just not going to work for us. So what we do is we said in the next line, we subtracted 3 from this side of the equation. And if we're going to do that, subtract 3 from this side of the equation, we must also subtract 3 from this side of the equation. And what we end up with is plus 3 minus 3, of course, becomes 0, leaving us with just m, and 8 minus 3 gives us 5, and you can see how clean and nice that works, okay? The other rule is that if we have a variable that is a letter term, letters, I always say, letters go to the left, LL. Makes sense, right? So if we have a letter term, it must move to the left. We'll see an example that includes that in a few minutes. So if I want to do this particular example here, which is minus 3 equals 13. I'm going to try this with the pen. I'm not sure I'm going to write very well here. I think I'm a much better writer on the whiteboard than I am here, but this is what I've got to work with. So what I'm going to end up with is I'm going to add 5 here, and I'm going to add 5 here. And as a result, I end up with m equals 18. And essentially what has happened here is, just going to erase this little spot here. What has happened here is I added 5 because I was subtracting 5, and adding is the opposite, so it will make this 0. But as long as I do the same thing to the other side of the equation, I maintain balance between the two sides, and that's crucial in an equation. So as long as I'm doing the same thing to both sides, I'm not breaking that golden rule of solving equations, which is whatever you do to one side, you do the same to the other. So I'm going to go down, and this ended up becoming m equals 18. If we were to take the 18 and put it in for m, we go 18 subtract 5. Oh, that does equal 13. If you were to put that into your calculator, you'd see that those two sides are equal. And that's essentially what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the value of m that will make this statement true. If I put 20 in here, for example, 20 take away 5 is 15. 15 doesn't equal 13, so that doesn't work. But if I put 18 here, it does work. And so therefore I have the correct answer, and I can give myself a little check mark, as you will earn if you do that in your classes. Now, whoops, I accidentally thought I'd scroll here, and that didn't work. So I'm going to scroll down with the mouse, or escape, sorry, and I can scroll down one like this, and we'll look at this question. This is a little more complex question. Once again, I'll get my pen up. The question reads 5k minus 18 equals 3k plus 12. In this case, I'm going to identify the things that are on the wrong side. What's on the wrong side is this 18 minus, and you notice that I always take the sign that goes in front of something. If there is no sign in front of it because it's the first term, we assume it's a positive, okay? And this one here. So in this particular case, these two things are on the wrong side. They're not, that's a number term, constant, and it's on the left side. I don't want that. I want to get rid of it. So how can I get rid of minus 18? Well, it's real easy. I can add 18, and that was written right here in this line of the equation. But when I added 18 there, I also had to add 18 here, which is written right here. Most students won't write out this entire second line of the equation, but I've done that as part of my example. They'll often do what I've written up here. Now, if you look more closely, I also have this 3k, which I have to get rid of or want to remove because it's not on the left side, and a k is a letter term. Letter terms are okay on the left side, they're not okay on the right side. So what do? I subtract 3k, and that means I have to subtract 3k here. And you'll notice that when I wrote the plus 18 here, I wrote it over by the 12. On this side, I'll just get my mouse. I wrote it over by the 12. The 18 plus 18 over here, everything seems to work out just nicely. And because I keep the terms that are like together, 3k minus 3k obviously here, but then I put the minus 3k over by the 5k. And the same thing when we wrote out this line, 5k minus 3k minus 18 plus 18. 3k minus 3k, 12 plus 18. And then we just simply do the mathematics. So the 5k subtract 3k, which is also written here, is 2k. Minus 18 plus 18, that's 0. It's gone. That leaves us with just 2k on the left side of the equation. And over on the right side of the equation, we have 3k minus 3k, which is 0. It's gone. There's no k's left, which is what we wanted to do. And we have 12 plus 12 plus 18 gives us 30. And we're now at this line right here, which is where I'm working from. Well, I have a problem in that I have a number in front of this k, and I need to do something to get rid of it. If you think about it, it's 2 times k. Well, 2 times k is the opposite reaction to 2 times k is to divide by 2. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide by 2. Up here, I had minus 18, and I added 18. Opposite of subtraction was addition. Okay, here, opposite of multiplication is division. So we divide by 2. And when we go 2 divided by 2, that leaves us with 1k, which we just write as k. Now, if I'm going to do that to divide by 2 on this side of the equation, guess what? I have to also divide by 2 on this side of the equation. That's the golden rule of solving equations, 30 divided by 2. Now, what I've got is 15, and that is my answer. And if you were to go back and put 15 into this equation up here, you'd see that it actually works out. You'd get 5 times 15 minus 18. What does that equal? Well, 5 times 15 is 75. Minus 18, 75 minus 18. Now, just in my own head, I'm going to subtract 20 to bring me to 55 and add 2. That's going to bring me to 57. Okay, let's hope the other side works out. 3 times 15 plus 12. Well, 3 times 15 is 45, and 45 plus 12 equals 57. So it does satisfy the equation when I put k as 15 into it. And that's really important. It's an important step to sometimes do. Sometimes kids give me answers that are just, crazy. If you would just take a quick look back, you'd see that it doesn't work. Okay. I'll do the second. I'm going to do this example down here, and then I'm going to give you some homework to work on. Okay. So in this particular question, you'll see that I have 3t plus 7, 4t plus 3. So I have to recognize what's on the wrong side. And as I go across, I see the 7 is on the left side, plus 7. So I must subtract 7 here. And if I subtract 7 here, I subtract 7 here. Okay? And then I see, oh, I have a 4t on the right-hand side. That's a letter term. I want to put it onto the other side, or I want to get rid of it. I don't like to say put it on the other side. I just want to get rid of it from that side. And so I can simply subtract 4t, and that's gone. But I can't do that without having a counterbalance, so I have to also subtract 4t here. And now I can do all this math in my head or as I go. So I set my equal sign up. 3t subtract 4t. Ooh, 3 minus 4 is minus 1t. Okay. And 7 minus 7 is 0. 4t minus 4t is 0. And 3 minus 7 is minus 4. And I'm almost done here. Now what I need to do is I need to look at my question and say, what's in front of the t? Well, it's minus 1. How do I get rid of that damn minus 1? Silly thing. Well, it's easy. Just like I did in the previous question, when I divided by 2, I'm going to now divide by minus 1. So I divide by minus 1 on both sides. It's that simple. Minus 1 divided by minus 1 is positive 1. And if you don't believe me, grab your calculator and put it in. Minus 1 divided by minus 1. You'll see the answer becomes 1. So what do we get? We end up with 1t. How do we write that? We usually don't bother with the 1. We just say t equals, and minus 4 divided by minus 1 is 4. And I have my answer. Now I can go back and do my check. Let's do a check. I say t equals 4. 3 times 4, where the t is, I put the 4, plus 7. What does that equal? 3 times 4 is 12, plus 7 is 19. Then I have 4 times t, which is 4, plus 3. 4 times 4 is, 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 equals 19. It works, it satisfies the equation. All right, I'm hoping that that works for you, and you can now go on to the lesson 1 worksheet and give it a go. All right, thanks for your time, and we'll see you again. Again, if you have questions, email me, and we'll get together online and go from there.